Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us at the Public Safety Solutions for Substance Use Disorder ECHO, brought to you by Center for Substance Use Training and Telementoring CSTAT at Beeville, Texas. My name is Shreya Prasanna, and I will be facilitating our discussion today. A few quick housekeeping notes before we begin. These sessions are enabled for live closed captioning. If you would like to view closed captioning for this session, please navigate at the bottom of your Zoom window and select the Show Captions option. You may need to click on three dots or more menu at the bottom right of your Zoom screen to find this. To help us with attendance, please enter your name, affiliation, and email into the chat. To access the chat feature, please click on the speech bubble icon on the navigation bar at the bottom of your window. To all the Beeville, Texas providers, please make sure that you identify yourselves during the session by entering your information into the chat, or if you are joining via phone, please email your phone number and name to beeville@ithaca.edu. Please note that we are recording these sessions for later distribution through the Beeville, Texas YouTube channel. Any information you put in the chat will not be shared on those recordings. We encourage everyone to join by video, especially for the discussion portion in the latter half of the session. That said, regardless of how you've shown up today, we are just as happy you're here to learn alongside us. Please stay muted unless you're speaking, and we do encourage you to speak. If you join by computer, your mute button is on the bottom left of your Zoom controls, or if you're on the phone, just press *6 to mute and unmute. You can also use the reactions menu in the bottom right of your Zoom screen to raise your hand and indicate you have a comment to share. There are a lot of us in this space, so please keep your comments brief to allow others the chance to share as well. And finally, please note that no protected health information is allowed in either the chat or our discussions, and that includes names, addresses, emails, pictures, or any information that can easily identify an individual. Towards the end of the session, the Beeville, Texas team will send out a link to an evaluation survey. Please fill it out for a few reasons. It gives us your feedback on how to refine and shape these sessions to address your priorities, and it allows you to access continuing education credits. We are approved for CEs for paramedics and any public safety professionals with a behavioral health degree. All participants filling out the survey will be automatically entered into a raffle for a $30 Walmart gift card. Today's session will start with a presentation on leveraging peer support services in prison and jail in Reach by Jose Flores and Chad Roberts. Following that, we will hear a case from our community. There are a lot of professions represented here, a lot of experiences and perspectives. I encourage you all to share your insights and questions during our discussion so that we can all learn from each other in this space. And with that, we will begin with some introductions.
Yeah, how you doing? Good morning, everyone. My name is Jose Flores. I'm a recovery support services lead within the Health and Human Services, specifically for a program called the Texas Target Opioid Response. And before all that, I also identify as being a person in recovery from substance use and mental health challenges, and also being formerly incarcerated, having spent almost 13 years incarcerated here in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. This year, I celebrated 12 years that I've been out, and it's been a really amazing journey, and it's just an honor to be here with you today and also to be able to present the gentleman that's going to be sharing a lot of the information with you today. I met Mr. Charles Chaz Roberts, who's a peer recovery support specialist at the Kyle unit while he was incarcerated here in Kyle, Texas, which is right south of Austin. I was very amazed to learn that there was individuals being trained to become peer recovery support specialists while they were incarcerated. But the relationship that I was able to build up with Mr. Roberts, and to see him helping out so many men at that program for the years that he was there, and now being able to welcome him home. He's been out now since May of 2024. And I told him when I used to go visit him at the Kyle unit in the program and the curriculum that he was presenting to those men there, that he would be in spaces like this one day. And so it's like a real honor to be able to share this space with him right now. And I really hope that you welcome him. And he's super nervous, but he's going to do very well. I know he is.
Thank you so much, Jose, for introducing yourself. And I'll move on to Charles Roberts. Could you please unmute and introduce yourself?
You guys got to forgive me. I haven't been around technology in a very long time. So my name is Charles Roberts. I go by Chaz. I'm honored to be here with all of you and contributing to a common goal and a common cause. I really appreciate the opportunity. I actually pioneered a House bill to become one of the first peer recovery coaches and peer specialists inside of a Texas prison system. And so I'm just grateful to be here. I also obviously have a lived experience in incarcerated, substance abuse, and mental health challenges, as we all have. Anybody living and breathing is subject to the same thing, I believe. So I'm honored to be here and grateful for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We will move on to our hub for today. Jeremiah.
Hello, everybody, and welcome, Chaz. Welcome, Jose.
Right, thank you.
Hi, I'm Jeremiah Golka. I'm the executive director of the SHIELD Training Initiative. We do occupational health and safety trainings for first responders, police, criminal justice personnel in their work responding to the overdose crisis in ways that make things better for everybody.
Thank you so much. Brandon?
Hi, my name is Brandon Del Pozo. It's great to be here today. I'm coming to you from the Hudson Valley of New York State. I am an assistant professor of medicine and public health at Brown University, where I research substance use as it intersects with the justice system. I was a police officer for 23 years, 19 in the New York City Police Department, and 4 as the chief of police of Burlington, Vermont. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. Cynthia?
Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to see that you all are joining us today. My name is Cynthia Mendiola. I'm a retired federal probation officer. I was there for 27 years, and I am now a trainer and coach for probation officers, parole officers, and community supervision officers. And I am happy to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Miramontes? Would you be able to unmute and introduce yourself?
Sorry, it's too loud. Dave Miramontes, San Antonio Fire. I'll be listening in.
Thank you so much for joining us. John De La Garza?
Yes, good morning, everybody. My name is John De La Garza. I work for the San Antonio Fire Department and closely with Dr. Miramontes on our overdose prevention program here with the fire department.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Andrea Hebler?
Hello, everyone. My name is Andrea Helvler. I am one of the program coordinators here at CSTAT. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you. And with that, we'll get started with our didactics. Jose, you can take it away whenever you're ready.
Yes, thank you. So today during this Public Safety Solutions SEDECO, we're going to be talking about leveraging peer support specialists for jail and prison in-reach. And this is something that is definitely near to my heart as coming out of prison January 6, 2012. There was definitely some supports that I needed as I was transitioning back into society. And so through the work with TTOR, I've been able to try to make sure that these supports are being available across the state. And Mr. Charles Roberts will also be able to talk about some of the peer support he provided while incarcerated and the current work that he's doing right now in the community of Austin, Texas. I think we jump to the next slide. And so the disclosure is all speakers and all members of the planning committee have no relevant financial relationships with a commercial interest to disclose. And the views and opinions expressed by the participants and speakers attending the ECHO sessions are solely their opinions and do not reflect the official position or policy of UT Health San Antonio. And these will be our learning objectives today. We're going to identify practical ways to reduce stigma present in persons who use substances in incarcerated populations. We're going to explain some of the strategies to support persons affected by mental health conditions in the incarcerated population, and then discuss the importance of and effectiveness of lived experience, along with the right education with helping persons in the incarcerated population. And I'll pass it along to Chaz now. You're muted, Chaz.
Hey, everybody. Bear with me. In 2011, I had, as a young man, I had wounds growing up in a low-income neighborhood, experienced depression, anxiety, just normal. Like I say normal, it's just very common for certain people who have wounds. I was filling those wounds with temporary fixes, the wrong crowd, and slowly kind of spiraled out. Let me speed up a little bit. In 2011, I was getting pulled over for a traffic violation. I was going to school to be a nurse, and I decided to run a red light in the midst of getting pulled over. The light had just turned red. I swerved, I missed the car, and I hit somebody. And at 23 years old, I got 25 years for murder for that. I hadn't had a history of, I've never been to prison. I had no extensive criminal history or anything. And long story short, I had to go through some growing pains. I caught myself trying to fit in at first. And I'm sorry, guys, I'm a little nervous right now too. But I'm really grateful to share this with y'all. I had some major growing pains, trying to fit in. I grew up a little different, and it just wasn't me. I was conflicted. I ended up going to college in prison. And while I was in college, my mom, she had got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and she was a social worker. She came and she got to see me walk the stage, and shortly after she had passed. Well, in 2018, after she had passed, I started a basketball program, and I had a vision for a basketball program. Basketball was a vehicle, and a majority of the basketball games or tournaments in prison were usually gang related, and they never went as far as the first game before, everybody got to fighting and it was over with. So I had a vision for something better, something greater, where I chose who was on each team, and you were forced to play with somebody that you may seen every day, but you never talked to them. Those of y'all who don't know, I've heard some of you guys' occupations, and those of y'all who don't know, prison is a melting pot of personalities, cultures, backgrounds, races. It's a microcosm of society. And so I put these teams together, kicked off this basketball tournament. I had the support of the warden at the time, and I came up with this quote, and it says, "What we have in common is greater than our differences." I say that to say this, that everybody on this call, we all look different. We all have, different backgrounds and different, just differences. But truly what we have in common as of right now is so much greater than any of our differences. And that's very powerful when it comes to peer support, when it comes to your peers or somebody who may not look like you, or even in certain occupations, the person that we're serving is basically us. And so that's why I wanted everybody to understand this. That's why I put this quote right here, is what we have in common is greater than our differences. What I didn't tell you is shortly after, I reached out to the San Antonio Spurs to be a part of this. And the basketball program made history in the state of Texas and changed the culture of an entire maximum security prison. This can be found in documents. It was documented in videos, and actually went under an investigation by the Texas Rehabilitation Services over at TDCJ. And it has been blueprinted and now moving throughout the state. And it might be just a quote to some people, but to me, what we have in common, being greater than our differences, is being able to have a vision, being able to see through a lens of commonalities at all costs. Because when we don't, we see somebody who is, I don't know how to explain, maybe not human. And then that may be a little harsh, but for somebody who's just spent 14 years in prison and lived experience, it has blessed me with that perspective. Can we go to the next slide, please? So this right here, the warden to the left. And as you can see, some of the Spurs players in the background, the vice president of Spurs right there, and a state representative right there, and all these different backgrounds, races, and cultures. Those of y'all who understand incarceration, a lot of people have suffered from mental illnesses and substance abuse problems, and led them to their incarceration. So what you see right there is people who were at one time enemies, that don't really talk to each other. If you don't know, I'll educate you that Texas prison is known for being one of the most uh, divided places when it comes to race. It's very, very divided racism is very big in Texas prison, and it could be detrimental. So what you see right here in this picture is actually a miracle. This is not, doesn't happen. And I feel great to tell you that. So we actually, this day right here, kicked off a bill being written that allowed people to become peer recovery coaches in Texas prison system. But at the time, we didn't know that. So a lot of these brothers were being led by each other. We empowered each other, hence the peer specialist, right? And you can go to the next slide, please. So the stigma, breaking the stigma of the incarcerated population. During the time that I started this basketball program, I was constantly questioned about my motives. When it comes to programs and things of such, it's good to get what you can, and I would say pass your time. But I did not want to just exist in prison. I wanted to live on purpose. And so did so many other people who have an extensive amount of time. And I know my brother Jose can relate. We wanted to live on purpose, right? And so creating this program, I had many hardships. Around every corner was a roadblock. And that's not complaining or anything. That's to be expected. However, there was a major stigma on somebody like myself who wanted to be better. And that may sound cliche, but it's just a fact. But the stigma doesn't just go on me. It also went to the prison administrators and the officers as well. You start to look at them as if they're against you, or there's always somebody trying to get over, or just like they're not you, right? And it goes back to what we have in common is greater than our differences. While this is an officer and I may be an incarcerated individual, if you look a little deeper than the surface, we're both human beings. We both want to live and do better. And looking through that lens starts to affect your behavior. And so I think if we continue to view things through commonalities, it'll help us to move a lot better, especially in the incarcerated population, because there are you. I sat in after pioneering the House bill, I don't want to jump too far ahead of myself, but a few years after this, I went to a substance abuse facility, and everybody there was going home after almost 12 years, I have never been around a lot of people who are going home. What you see in this picture right here, everybody putting their one finger in the air. That's something I started that meant, hey, we're all one. We're all the same, whether you like it or not. We all have a lot of we all bleed the same blood, and you might think you're different, or you're going through it and nobody understands what you're going through, but I promise you somebody does. And so I realized that I know that majority of people in prison are going to be your neighbor. They're going to be in your grocery stores. They're going to be driving down the highway next to you. And you really have to think, like, what are we doing when we release these people and responsible for having somebody be around my son or my daughter, and how important that is. And I think the beauty, you can go to the next slide, please. I think the beauty of that is that there are gems and jewels in people who have been through major adversities. Um, I like to look at it as a lot of people experience things. They go out, or maybe you can say our early ancestors, right? The hunter-gatherer people. Please follow me. They go out, they experience new territory, new land, just so many different things, and they come back to tell a story. They come back to explain what I saw, what I experienced, and it educated all these other people. But there's this, the thing is, not everybody comes back. Some people go out there and they don't make it back. And those who come back and are able to share the story, it educates all of us. And here we are in 2024, and peer support has been around for a little while. I was been under a rock in a maximum security prison, but I had no idea that we created something that just means be a good neighbor. But God bless us for creating it, because we need to push that and be that beacon, and really just it shines a light and wakes people up. But going out, experiencing certain things, and coming back is a big deal. And when you do that, you develop things that you can transfer and communicate to other people. Speaking to other people's strengths, the ones you cannot see but know, in fact, can be developed. Man, every human being has so much potential, and it's not hard to speak to that potential. An incarcerated individual, I will say this: I sat in a maximum security prison for 12 years. And it's not just a physical prison. People are in maximum security prisons here in society as well. And words have so much power. And if you can just speak to what you know is in every individual, every human being, it'll slowly start to answer back. And I think that's very important. And when we're speaking to incarcerated individuals, people with substance abuse who have so much shame. I'm going to be honest. I have overcome so much, and I'm so blessed. But speaking to you now, um, there's certain things that tap me on my shoulder, shame or fear or whatever. And sometimes I have to quiet that voice. And my brother Jose speaks to my strengths, and I appreciate that. He's my peer, just as we all are. Um, which brings me to the next one: is leadership. I totally realize that everything rises and falls solely on leadership, from a business to a family to a community to a criminal justice system. Everything will rise and everything will fall solely on leadership, and how important it is that we empower people to lead and not just follow, that we empower these people to be their best self. Um, I also want to talk about the mind, and being able to untangle negative thoughts and promote empowerment. Uh, when I went through um, peer support, and I was pioneering the House Bill 3227, I I struggled with I wanted to do so much more than I was able to. And I was constantly, I know I brought this up earlier, but I was constantly questioned on my motive or my sincerity. And it almost made me question myself, guys. I just wanted to do better. And I really just wanted to be part of the solution. And I battled with a lot of negative thoughts. I say that to say this, that I went under many evaluations in order for an incarcerated individual uh, to hold a Jose, what is it? A state to be
Certification.
yes, sir. Thank you, brother. To be certified by the state is a very loud. It's a very loud thing when it comes to Texas saying that this guy, because we have a big narrative, and as we already say, we're all tied to our opinions, but there's a big narrative that that you only do so much, and you stay in your lane, and you do that. And so, in order to give an incarcerated individual a state certification to be able to serve in that capacity is a very it's a big deal. And I went under a lot of scrutiny for that. But I had to have somebody like Jose or another brother say, "Hey, it's okay. You're doing the right thing," and speak to certain thoughts that were in my mind, that I'm sure in many people's mind who want to change their life. That goes back to the stigma. There's so many people that really want change and that really want transformation. And it's very important that we untangle those negative thoughts and push these people forward. And being a peer support coach, a peer recovery coach, a peer specialist is so vital to that. And it's so important. It's just so important. Um, it's a beautiful thing. By walking out recovery in real time and transferring it through a social dynamic inspires the peer for self-reflection and growth. So in creating this basketball program that you see to the left right there, that's a rec yard. For those of y'all who don't know, that's a prison rec yard. I shared my story, which basically is what a peer specialist does. They use their lived experience and they use their story and they share it with other people in order to connect. It builds a connection, right? If I didn't tell you what I've gone through or that I could actually relate, then it's difficult to understand or communicate with that person, especially develop any type of connection. So what you see right here is the rec yard, and before every game, before the program started, we shared our stories. But in our stories, we shared our failures, we shared our successes, and we made it our business to empower all these young brothers and all the men that would attend this basketball program. And one of the things we did was we would talk about humility. We would talk about being open-minded, wanting to be better, having character. And these things aren't having humility is not too common in prison. I'm just be honest, it's not that common. And so being able to transfer and explain what humility is for people who've never experienced it, what I did was I made a safe place, a rec yard, for these people to utilize these tools and experience them in real time and reap the benefits of it. It was a safe place to utilize these tools, experience them, and see what the benefit is. And what ended up happening is when they left the rec yard, it was transformation. I mean, these brothers were using it on the phone with their family, with the officers. And I believe we need to make a safe place for our peers and for people utilizing a peer recovery coach or a peer support coach to utilize certain tools that we've gained and empower them to use them so they can see what the outcome is. Because I'm gonna be honest, there's so many times where somebody would tell me about hope or maybe even humility that it sounded so foreign to me until brothers like Jose or peers empowered me. And last but not least is letting them know they are not alone. and it kind of ties everything together, is you would never know unless somebody spoke up, until somebody said something. So many people in prison feel like they are the only one. I'm sorry, excuse me, people in society. I was recently, can you go to the next slide, please? And I'll tie that in. Right there is where I work at the homeless shelter here downtown Austin. And there's so many people that feel like they're by themselves. I was able to share my story about a month ago on the news, and I I realized that whether you're in a high rise downtown Austin or you're in the homeless community, you're subject to the same mental illness that everybody else is. If mental illness, crime, and drug addiction and overdoses is the highest it's ever been in human history. Everybody on this call is a human. I mean, I'm going to repeat that one more time. So, mental illness, drug addiction, and crime is the highest it's ever been in human history. We are all subject to depression and anxiety, fear, and shame. But there are so many people, in my opinion, who believe maybe my social status differs from yours, so you have no idea what I'm going through. Maybe my struggle is different from yours, so you have no idea what I'm going through. But it's a struggle, one and the same. A struggle is a struggle, however you look at it. And being able to relate to somebody and really just view through that lens of our commonalities really helps us connect with people and empower them and push them in the right direction. And it lets me know, hey, man, I'm not alone. I'm not alone. And knowing that you're not alone, man, it feels so good. Somebody who with lived experience, man, can tell you it feels so good to just know, hey, man, I'm not the only one going through it. Okay. All right. And not only am I not the only one going through it, it feels very good to know that I'm not the only one who wants to get better. And that's really empowering. And that's what a peer specialist and a peer recovery coach does, is we empower people and we empower each other. Um, Education attached to live experience, utilizing the experiences of mental health symptoms and the challenges to assist the incarcerated population. Education attached to lived experiences. I was talking to Jose, and there are so many people who have experienced major adversity. Uh, I I went to college. I got my degree in sociology, and I greatly appreciate everything that I learned in prison. The education. I read so many books, and I'm just so grateful to have received that. Uh, just so many people on this phone call. You're so educated, and you have so much to offer. And God bless you guys. Y'all are so awesome, man. I don't even know. I can't even put it to words. I'm just so grateful for you guys. But there are so many people, and you guys are just, we're one and the same. Who have, if you're a living, breathing human being, then you've experienced adversity. It is what it is. And there's a quote that I like to say is that we grow through what we go through. And in this adversity, we pick up so many beautiful lessons from our lived experiences. Now it kind of goes back to what we were just talking about is your experiences may differ from mine, but we can educate each other. And we become very solid when we educate each other, and we're a force, especially when it comes to public safety and our communities and being a better people. But when I say education attached to lived experience, I say this, that there are so many people, and this is what we can do. There are so many people who have suffered from mental illnesses deeply, have suffered from substance abuse deeply, and they have gone through it, and they have came out the other end, and they're okay, and they're living, and they're doing okay, and these people are functioning and successful in society. However, when we educate these people on what they have gone through, when we educate these people on the mental illness, when we educate these people on the substance abuse and how it truly affected them, or the resilience that they have. I really want to pinpoint that, man. The resilience that they have, it allows them to communicate that to other people, or maybe even the people on this call like myself, and be able to communicate that and be able to transfer that to others, because that's what we really need right now in a society that has very little hope, is being able to communicate and educate these people. Hey, what you're going through or what you've already been through, I'm going to give you an education attached to your lived experience. Education is so amazing. Nelson Mandela did 32 years in prison and came out the president of South Africa. He said education is one of the biggest weapons that we got. And I think that's just so important, man, is when we educate people who have this lived experience, it empowers them so much more. And it's almost, it's compelling to be part of the cause when you know. So I think it's just very important that we provide an education for these people who have this lived experience and who are going through things or have gone through something, because it has a big impact on our communities and on all of us. Next slide, please.
Hi, Charles. We're getting close to time, so if you could
Thank you.
please summarize in an
No, you got it. I'm
Thank
ready
you.
to turn it up. Let's go. We're ready to have a party after this. This right here is a blueprint of the basketball tournament I had in prison. This is the homeless shelter I worked at, and they allowed me to use my lived experience and create an event here at the homeless shelter downtown Austin. And right here is, we had everybody put their ones up. As you can see, there's a bunch of different cultures, backgrounds, races, people suffering from many different things, but we all came together with a common cause and a common goal to want and to be better. I was able to share my story with these people. They were sharing the story with each other. And it was a very beautiful thing. What qualified me for this position is my lived experience. And this is the community here in Austin. And I wanted to close with this. This right here is a community. All of us on this call, we're a community. And when I really thought, and this is so cliche, but when I really thought about that word, somebody once said, hey, do you realize, man, that's common unity. And being able to see through that lens that what we have in common is greater than our differences, really, man, is so much more meaningful. And it's one of the reasons why I'm on this call right now. And I'm just very grateful for everyone and being able to share what I got. Like I said, I'm a little nervous and I'm horrible at technology, but I am learning. I appreciate Andrea and Jose. But I hope I was able to inspire or maybe give a little bit of insight to somebody today. And I really appreciate you just giving me the opportunity. So thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Charles, for sharing your story. It's really inspiring, and we hope you continue with the good work. Thank you.
It's just a small glimpse of a bigger picture.
Of course. Thank you so much. And in the interest of time, I will invite our learners to please post their comments and questions in the chat while we move on to the next part of our session. Thank you again, Jose and Charles, for this wonderful presentation. Angela, if you could please bring up the announcements. Thank you so much. The Center for Substance Use Training and Telementoring offers technical assistance for various substance use disorders and topics via our team of experts. To request technical assistance, you can complete an online request form and we'll be pleased to help you. And we can drop this link in the chat. Next slide, please. To claim your CEO credit, you must complete the post-session survey in the chat or by email sent after the session. When you complete the post-session survey, please select yes on the question, are you applying for CEO credit for today's ECHO session? Your certificate of completion will be sent to you 2 to 3 weeks after the session date. Next slide, please. Do you have a difficult case that you or your team have encountered? CSTAT offers you the opportunity to present any challenge your organization is encountering and receive expert feedback from our hub members. Submitting a case is really easy. You do not need to prepare a presentation. We can send you a short form for you to complete, but you may also send us a brief description of the case via email, and we will prepare the form for you. So please email us at cstat@uthescout.edu if you would like to speak about some challenge or a difficult case that you have recently encountered. Next slide. And finally, please join us for our next session on Thursday, November 14th at 11 a.m. CT. And with that, we will move on to our case. Angela, if you could please bring up the case, and John, you can take it away.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for having me back on the on Echo for this presentation. Just a quick comment, great job on trying to do that community, bringing everybody together over there in the jail system with Chaz, working with the police officers and the inmates and everybody there in the staff. I think that here with the San Antonio Fire Department, we're constantly trying to work on building that as well. My name is John De La Garza. I work for the San Antonio Fire Department. I'm the project manager for the overdose prevention program here. And today's case is going to be about a 52-year-old male with mental health, undiagnosed mental health illness and substance use. So one of the questions that I'd like to address with everybody is that what are the best practices that a first responder can use on a mental health person experiencing feelings of paranoia and suicide ideations, but is in denial? Okay. I'm having a delay here. So the setting of this context was on July 1st, sometime around 6:30 in the evening. I was driving home and I received a phone call from a client, a 52-year-old male who was outside of his home arguing with his parents, expressing signs of paranoia and suicide ideations. A brief description of this encounter was this person had been told to leave his parents' home because they were tired of his paranoid behavior. He was hiding around the house and constantly talking about people wanting to kill him, disrupting the environment in the home with the children who were also living there. And so when he called me, some of the strategies that I employed in managing this encounter was I confirmed with him that his feelings were real. And then I asked him if he knew who was trying to hurt him. He replied that he did not know who wanted to kill him, but felt that at any moment they were going to rush him. He had a bat in one hand and a razor blade in the other, stating that he was tired of feeling scared and was wanting to cut his throat with the razor blade. He then pleaded that I send our overdose prevention team to go out and treat him with buprenorphine because we had done that in the past. I strongly advised him that at this point he needed to call 911 and tell the dispatcher to send police and EMS. Shortly after that, we were disconnected and I contacted 911 because his behavior was not typical when I had spoken to him in the past. Dispatch informed me that PD had already been notified of the incident and were already responding to the scene. So our policy, standard operating procedures with the San Antonio Fire Department and EMS here. Anytime we have an incident where somebody is threatening suicide ideations or homicidal ideations, police are asked to secure the scene before EMS engages with the patient. EMS then provides patient care. If the person does not disclose SI or HI, that's suicide or homicidal ideations, we can clear medically clear the patient and then release the patient back to police. If the patient does disclose SI or HI, then he's emergency detained and transported to a mental health facility. The list of substances that this patient has been known to use, he does have a history of heroin, IV drug use, and meth use for about 30 years. At the time when this incident happened, no mental health diagnosis had been made with him. The context about this person, if known, he has been known to be homeless, occasionally stays with his parents, where they'll accept him back, just providing some shelter and some food. He does not have employment right now. At this point, I don't know if he has insurance. He does lack a psychiatric evaluation and access to care. So the barriers that I faced during this encounter was communicating with police to advocate on the person's behalf. Having a reliable phone was also a barrier to communicate with him as well as with the police. Um, uh, case management was also a barrier in this. I think that with the time that I've been working with him, he hasn't been assigned any case manager. Peer support, like Chaz said earlier, peer support or having a recovery coach with him would be beneficial. That's the barrier right now, trying to bridge him into services, given that he does lack telecommunications. Transportation is also one of the barriers for him. He does not have reliable transportation and obviously a mental health diagnosis to getting him the services that he needs to stabilize for any mental health problems he might have. What went well with this encounter? Um, Police were dispatched promptly. So at the time that I called dispatch, it seemed that maybe the family members or somebody, a third party caller, had already called dispatch, trying to get someone out there to stabilize the situation. The other thing that I liked about this was that this patient did have someone to reach out to. Because I had been working with him, he had my phone number, so he did call me to see if I could try to get our team out there to go help him out. And so one of the things is that he does not feel threatened by the uniform when we go out there, and I don't believe that he feels threatened by the uniform when PD shows up. He was promptly transported to a mental health hospital where he was stabilized, and he was provided a discharge plan with from the hospital when he left there. What would I do differently if presented with this scenario? I feel that I did everything that I could do, given that I was trying to handle this over the phone. If possible, I would have tried to get dispatch to connect me with the police officer on scene, knowing that I had some history with this patient. That didn't happen. And then what do I think success might look for this case? I believe it's challenging unless he finds support to help him comply with his discharge plan from the hospital. He has a history of maintaining a job and is eager to getting him back into the workforce. And I believe that this is an approachable way of maybe working with this patient. Options for referrals. This person has been referred to a mental health clinic. However, peer support outreach has still been challenging. Trying to get the support from peer support or coaches to engage with this individual at home, given that he does not have reliable communication, is a challenge.
Thank you so much, John, presenting the case. John, are you still here? I think John is having some difficulties with his connection. I will open up the floor for any questions or comments from our learning community here. Anything? Yes, Cynthia.
I think that, questions might be limited here because it seems like, John did a really good job to make that referral, to get the people that needed to be there to help the individual. And, so I think the only question is I think we had talked a little bit about, the mental health diagnosis and the substance use. Just wondering if those two get addressed at the same time, is the only question I have.
Thank you, Cynthia. John, would you, could you take that question? John, are you able to take the question from Cynthia?
Yes, I just got reconnected. My Wi-Fi dropped. Sorry
Oh,
about
okay.
that.
No worries, no worries. So I think Cynthia wanted to know if both his mental health issues as well as the substance use were getting addressed in the referrals that you made.
So as of today, I did receive a phone call from him saying that he was making his first appointment with the mental health authority here in San Antonio on a walk-in basis. I will be following up with him later on today after 1:30. So it seems like he is driven to try to address these problems. Um, he does have a medical problem with a hernia that is preventing him from getting employment, and that's his drive to wanting to get the help. So he's got two things going on: medical problems as well as mental health issues that need to be addressed almost at the same time. Patience is something that he's struggling with right now and trying to accomplish both of those things.
Okay, thank you. Jeremiah, I think you had a comment earlier.
I was actually basically going to ask the same question about the dual diagnosis, since it seemed like in the history, the person did not have a dual diagnosis, just had the substance use diagnosis was important on that.
Interesting on that comment right there is that he has had substance use treatment with methadone in the past, but because he's lacking that psychiatric eval, that has sometimes stopped him from continuing on his MAT program because they're wanting to get that established. So in this case, what do you address first? And it seems like the prescribers have been asking him to get that diagnosis with the psychiatrist first before they continue on treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. Yeah, that just jumped out as a curiosity. Then I wanted, Brandon, you had an idea in the huddle about resources for the parents and stuff. If you wanted to.
Yeah, thanks. No, I had two points to bring up. One was, it seems if the subject is 52 years old, parents are hopefully at least 70, if not almost 80. And that's a fairly vulnerable population, i.e. the elderly, especially with like a high needs son. So I was wondering if there was anything that was done to provide the parents with resources, or if not, maybe be mindful of that. So one was what to do about the parents as older folks. And then two, there's a 30-year methamphetamine use history, and I was just wondering the extent to which uh, methamphetamine use could have motivated this behavior, and if that was accounted for, maybe a referral for substance use or some sort of comorbidity or something like that. So again, elderly parents and meth were my 2 points in the huddle.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, great questions on that. Trying to address elderly parents with coaching, I don't know at this point if the parents would be motivated to look for resources to help them out in managing their son, given their age. And as far as methamphetamines being used, I believe that he was in drug-induced psychosis at the time that he had that paranoia event.
Yeah, no, I think that's really insightful. And I noticed in the case write-up that it was a mental health referral. So I was wondering if there was like a substance use, if what the substance use treatment engagement history was, or if that was a missed opportunity or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he came onto us somewhere probably about 4 or 5 months ago when we started providing treatment. He went in for opiate use disorder, and he did say that buprenorphine was working well for him. Then they moved him over to methadone because the clinic was requiring that psych eval. So he was getting methadone treatment. He has expressed to me that the methadone is something that he does not like. He would rather be on buprenorphine for reasons that maybe he feels like he's more alert and thinks that he can go to work while he's on bupe versus methadone. But still lacks that psychiatric eval. And so hopefully that'll be accomplished. An appointment will be accomplished today, and he'll get that eval to continue on MAT treatment.
Thank you. Brandon, if I could perhaps request you to please summarize today's session.
Yeah, I think this was, I found this case interesting for a bunch of reasons. One, the age of the person who is the subject of the call, right? A 52-year-old male. A lot of times people will, at that point in their life course, either desist from using drugs if they've made it that far, or see their behavior tempered a bit. Not in this case. So I was really relieved to see that the incident was resolved without the use of force, without escalation, right? Was considering the person was armed and threatening self-harm. It was also good to see the way the linkage was made to mental health resources. Again, like, it's easy to Monday morning quarterback, but I still was left wondering, because even with the MAT linkage, what if anything was being done to address the stimulant use problem, since the behavior was acknowledged to be the type of paranoia that could come of stimulant use. And then also, I guess as I get older and have older parents, I also urge folks to remember the burden that this type of behavior has on the elderly, who aren't always capable of dealing with like complex mental health and addiction comorbidities. So I think we see that this was like, an incident that could have gone sideways in several ways, but did not. It was engaged decisively with good resources and well done. But often these incidents are complex, and I guess you can always do more, right? So thank you for presenting this.
Thank you so much, Brandon, for the summary. And thank you again, John, for bringing this case to us and discussing this with us. And once again, thanks Jose and Charles for the wonderful presentation today, and Charles for sharing your very inspiring story. And thank you all for attending today's session. As a reminder, please complete the post-session survey using the link in the chat. Our next session is on Thursday, November 14th at 11 a.m. Central. Thank you and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.